Welcome to the kitchen. Today I want to share with you how I make these delicious walnut cookies. They're really simple. The idea behind this recipe is just simplicity and easy to scale up. You can double it really easily. But it starts with just 1 cup of flour, 1 cup of oats, and 1 cup of chopped walnuts. So really simple, just 1 cup of each. And to that we're going to add 1 cup of dried fruit. I've got raisins and dates. But before we add those, I'm going to just add a little bit of baking soda. That's half a teaspoon of baking soda. That's just going to leaven everything up. So I'm going to mix that into our flour. And I'm not adding salt because we're going to be working with salted butter. But if you're using unsalted butter, you could add about a half a teaspoon of salt. So I've got about equal parts raisins and chopped dates. So now we're going to work with our wet ingredients, and we're starting with 1 stick of butter, and we're going to cream in a half a cup of brown sugar. And I've really packed this in. So if you've got a stick of frozen butter, you can pop it in the microwave for 3-second intervals and just let it sit for 10-15 seconds and then 3 more seconds on the microwave, and just repeat that process until it's just soft. So we've got room temperature butter, and I'm just going to mix in our half cup of brown sugar just until we get a little grainy paste. We don't want any huge chunks of butter, because once we mix in our dry, it's going to be really tricky to get any lumps out. So we want to cream this together beforehand. So that looks pretty good. So now to this I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. This adds a really wonderful flavor. Just like that. We're going to add 1 large egg. So simple. 1 stick of butter, 1 egg. I tried to simplify as much as I could, getting rid of fractional ingredients wherever possible. So I'm just going to whisk that egg in and just combine it with our butter and our sugar. Get that vanilla mixed in there nicely. And because we've only added a half a cup of brown sugar, I'm going to add a little honey too. Because these are not going to be super sweet cookies. If you like really, really sweet, you could always add more sugar. But these are more of a healthy energy cookie with all the protein from those walnuts and the oats, and all that dried fruit adds just a bunch of natural sugar. But we're also going to add a good amount of honey, about 1/8 of a cup. I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. You can certainly add more if you like it extra sweet. We're just going to mix this in. And now we may want a splash of milk once we mix everything together, because sometimes, depending on how you measure your flour, it might be a little tricky. So now we're just going to add our 1 cup of flour, oats, walnuts, and fruit. Just super simple. Add it straight into our wet. And you could add the wet into the dry. It's not really a huge deal. Just try and break up these dates a bit. They tend to stick together. But now we're just going to lightly mix this in until it's combined. And then once this is all done, we'll just divvy it out onto a baking sheet and bake it at 300 for about 25 minutes. You want to check them at 20. If you like a softer cookie, you can take them out then. I like a little crunch and a little more color, so I usually leave them in for 25. And it's looking a little dry, so I might want to add a splash of milk, but I'm just going to fold it in a little bit more first. because we want to be able to tease these apart into little balls. So we don't want it to be too dry where it's going to be crumbly. But it's starting to come together nicely. So I am going to add a splash of milk. Just a splash. Just makes it easier to combine and work with. So just a little bit there. There we go. Yeah, that looks better already. So these are so easy. Everything is so simple. Just 1 cup of virtually everything. So this is kind of a hybrid of a bunch of recipes I found online. Took what I liked, got rid of what I didn't like, simplified everything, and this is what I came up with. These are so tasty. So that's perfect right there, that consistency, because these are going to melt down in the oven. So we're just going to take little cookie-sized bits, space them out on our baking sheet, and then these are going to bake at 300 for 25 minutes. So just like this, I'm going to pop these in the oven until they look nice and golden brown. So I hope you give these a go. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time.